folks. So, it's January. Well, it's actually nearly February now. What day is it? And, yeah, and it feels like December again, because it feels like Christmas came once again. Because Reza Studios updated Automobilista 2 yesterday, once again with version 1.1.1.0. And what's the update like? Well, I'm going to try and tell you that in roughly 5 minutes. It's going to be hard to cram everything that they've done into that short amount of time. But I do understand that a lot of you are very busy people. You've probably only got a couple of hours a week to sim race, and you don't have time to test what's changed with the new updates, which is why you need out-of-work bums like me due to COVID-19 who have got nothing to do but sit around playing racing games and testing them all day to find, or racing sims, testing them to find out what the changes are. So we're going to do that over a short 5-minute race here at Brands Hatch in the McLaren 720S. Now, one of the biggest things about this new update is it's come with a brand new piece of content, the Ginetta G40. You might be thinking, why aren't you using the new content? Well, the reason why is, one, I think the new car, which is great, both versions of it, actually deserve their own video, and a bit longer than 5 minutes as well. So, I want a whole video to focus on that new car. And two, one of the big improvements, real leap forward in fact, has been the AI, which I'm now racing against. And I've been racing religiously recently at Brands Hatch in the 720S. So I know exactly how the AI in that car are. I know exactly what their skill level is in comparison to mine. I haven't had, I don't know what it's like with the Ginetta yet. I don't know what my skill level is like compared to the Ginetta's AI, so that's the only reason I'm not using it. But both versions of the Ginetta are absolutely fantastic. By the way, there's been a bit of confusion on the forums, especially over at Race Department. Some people have been noticing, or one person in particular noticed, that the Ginetta's, the Cup car is supposed to be, as it says in the description, a 5-speed H pattern manual gearbox, and the GT5 version is supposed to be a 6-speed sequential. When the update came out, both were acting like sequentials, and both... Is that car still beside me? Oh! God, yes, he was. I've gone silent. That was my fault, not the AI, as I've turned right in on him. Ignore that. So, yeah, they were both acting like sequentials, and they were both 6 speeds. And it was brought up on the boards just after it had been updated. There was a tiny little update came out whilst I was testing the cars. And it's about 250 kilobytes. And it's already been updated, so now the Cup car, I can happily tell you, does now act like a H pattern. And the GT5 car does now act like a sequential. You can test this by trying to bang through the gears without the clutch in both cars. You'll see what I mean. So I'm very happy to tell you that, although both cars are still 6-speed, even though one's supposed to be 5-speed. So there's another little thing there which may or may not be fixed. It's a bit confusing, because looking at the real series, it seems that the early versions of the race car were 5-speed manuals, and then they were replaced by a 6-speed sequential, but road-going versions of the car had a 6-speed manual. Anyway, I've tried both versions, they're both great. Now, there have been updates to the tyre physics, the rate of fall-off of grip, which I have to say, after testing lots of the cars, not all of them, because that would just take ages, there's so much in this sim at the moment, everything feels better. Everything does. At least that's my opinion. The way the grip falls off, especially if you go over the limits a bit, feels much better. The little Puma P052, is it? Feels, or 50, feels a lot sharper than it used to as well. The BMW M1 Pro car, there's been an update to that, and wow, does that feel good. It really does feel great. Give that a try. Without going into too much detail, it feels great. The DTMs feel better. This McLaren feels better. And the new Ginetta, it was a complete surprise to me. I didn't even know that was coming. And both versions, I'm so happy to have that in the sim, because I watch them quite a lot on the television, and I think when I do my video, it's got to be Alton Park for those. It's a great series. So the AI. Now you might notice that I've got a sort of snakeskin green McLaren right up my jacksie here. Well, I'm pleased to tell you that one of the things the AI have been improving in many ways. One of the ways in which they're not quite up to scratch yet, or haven't been up to scratch, is kind of their aggression. You know, they're fine if they're beside you or in front of you. They're great at accident avoidance, but when they're behind you, they tend to drop off quite a lot, sort of give up a little bit. That's not as bad as it seems, because if you use the virtual mirror like I do for cars like this where I can't see the side mirrors when I'm not in VR on a normal screen, the virtual mirror has this weird odd FOV where it makes cars look about 10 times further back than they actually, well, not 10 times, about 3 times further back than they actually are. For instance, this car behind me is right on my, well, that's not a great example. I have to do it when he's a bit further away. That makes things look further behind than they are. But they do, you know, they have been known to sort of give up on you a little bit. That's changed, I'm happy to say. There we go, look, that's how close he is, and he looks quite a bit further away in the virtual mirror. They're now, they stick with you a lot better now. More so on straights as well. They used to, you know, sort of come up behind you on a straight and not pull up the over the take. They just come up behind you, then drop back off again. They're much more all over you now. Much more akin to, say, if I was racing R Factor 2 or Assetto Corsa Competizione, they're getting closer to the aggression levels or how they behave when they're behind you. However, I am running with my aggression levels here at 100 to get the same effects I'd have with the aggression set at, say, about 60%, or in R Factor 2 or Assetto Corsa. Anyway, that's the end of the race. Wow, 5 minutes goes quickly. Anyway, I'm having much more fun with the AI. Their side-to-side movement has been looked at. I want to do a full race so I can really show you, but those are some of the updates. There have been a couple of disappointments for me. For instance, the DTMs, the Dutch touring cars, the historic touring cars Group A, and the M1 Pro cars, their AI starts are still, they're not great at getting off the line. For the rest of the race, they're fine. But Reza did mention that they weren't quite fixed yet in one of the update that came before this one. So I know that's still being looked at. I have every faith that Reza will update that. If you want to have a decent race with them but not have those really starts where you can just fly past them at the start, set it to rolling starts for the moment, and that will cure that. Also, the older Ginetta, the G55 in the GT4s, that still doesn't have its ABS and traction control on, and the wiper still doesn't work for some reason. So that's still there, but everything else that they've concentrated on is better. The AI is better. The feeling of the grip is better. Like I said, much better on straights. So there you go, and we've got a new free car. You know, the Ginetta, brand new free car. It is awesome, and I am going to do a video just about that. A lot of people have been complaining, you know, oh, it's they've used another car model from Project Cars 2, you know, where the engine for this game came from. And well, Myra, you know, have they used another car model from Project Cars 2? Really? Oh, okay. Brilliant. I couldn't give a flying